Hi nurses, today we are going to learn how a registered nurse would be performing abdominal assessment on a patient. Well, abdominal assessment is little bit different from all the nursing assessments that we do with all the other systems. So here, let us start with the video. Hi Rachel.
Hi.
I am Navkiran, your registered nurse for today. How are you feeling today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So today we are going to assess your abdominal area. In this I'll be inspecting your abdomen and then we could auscultate on your abdomen. I'll be hearing the sounds. I could also touch your abdominal quadrants, that's called as palpation, to look for the areas of pain or tenderness.
Okay.
And I'll be also listening to the sounds. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
So since that you have seen that I have taken the consent, we can actually start with collecting the subjective data from our patient. So I will be asking few questions from you. Do you recently have any changes in appetite?
No.
And do you recently lost some of the weight or gained some of the weight?
No.
Okay. So did you lose any sort of weight recently?
No.
Okay. Do you face any difficulty in swallowing at any point of time?
No.
Okay. Are you allergic to any kind of foods or food items?
No.
Okay. Is there any medications like you are taking on regular basis?
No.
Okay. And are you suffering from any kind of abdominal problems, or is there any history of previous abdominal surgery?
No.
And is there any sort of pain or tenderness or any problem with the bowel habits like constipation or diarrhea recently?
No.
Okay. So since you have seen, we have taken subjective data, we have collected that type of data from the patient. I have taken a full history of the client regarding all the things, all the conditions that could have been associated with the abdominal area. And let me tell you a very important thing before proceeding further. Abdominal assessment contains 4 steps of assessment: inspection, auscultation, percussion and palpation. You might have noticed that I have taken auscultation at the second place because in the abdominal assessment you do assessment before palpation. Palpation is done at the last, because if you will do palpation at the second place, it could stimulate the intestinal movement or the peristaltic movements and you can get the false results. So in the case of abdominal assessment, auscultation is done before palpation, whereas palpation is done at the last step. Okay, so let us start with the inspection first. Okay nurses, first thing first, so we are going to start with the general inspection of the client. As you see, my client is lying down, and in the case of inspection we have to look for the shape of abdomen from the ribs area till the pubic bone. We have to see what shape of the abdomen is. Is it rounded? Is it concave? Is it protuberant, or what it is? So basically in this case there is a flat tummy, there is no round tummy. We have to look at the texture of the skin. It should be smooth, and if there are stretch marks or anything like that, if there are some of the kind of bruises or any surgical marks, we have to note for that as well. And in inspection also we could see the pulsations that could be seen at the area where the aorta could be there, and also we could also see some of the asymmetry which could be seen on the abdominal area while inspection. I want to add one more point before starting any sort of assessment on your client. Make sure that your client has emptied the bladder. Tell your client to pass the urine. Your hand should not be very cold, and the bell of the stethoscope, that is this particular piece, should be warmed before touching to the abdominal area. So after inspection we will move over to our next step, which is auscultation. The next step in our assessment is auscultation. For doing auscultation we have to divide the abdomen into 4 quadrants. So basically if we divide the abdomen into 4 quadrants, this is the right lower quadrant, this is right upper, this is left upper, and this is going to be the left lower. Always remember, whenever you are auscultating the 4 abdomen quadrants, you have to start with the right lower quadrant first, because this is where you will clearly auscultate the sound. So let us start. So now I am going to touch my stethoscope to your abdomen. Okay, I want to hear the sounds. So as you can see, I have started from the right lower quadrant and I will listen the sounds here for 1 full minute. And now let's move to the right upper, then left upper, and then left lower. And as you can see, we are moving clockwise. We are moving from right lower quadrant to the right upper, left upper and left lower. So we are moving clockwise. Always remember, if there are some areas of tenderness or pain, we have to auscultate and palpate them lastly, because it could aggravate the pain. And also, when I was auscultating the sounds, I could clearly hear the loud gurgling sounds, and I should hear 5 to 30, between 5 to 30 sounds. Like if they are less than 5, they are called as hypoactive. If it is more than 30, they are called as hyperactive. If the sounds are in between 5 to 30, they are normal. So if you hear the sounds like less than 5 sounds per minute, you have to repeat the procedure for another 5 minutes. Like for another 5 minutes, I have to continuously listen to the sounds in one particular quadrant before diagnosing it as a paralytic ileus or absent bowel sounds. While doing auscultation, we could also use this part of the stethoscope to auscultate any kind of bruit into the aortic area. I cannot hear any bruit, and then these two are the renal arteries, so we have to kind of auscultate them for the bruit as well. No bruit here as well, and in this area you could have two iliac arteries, left and right. So you could also auscultate this area for the presence of any sort of bruit. Yeah, this is absolutely normal. So this is how usually you do auscultation, and now let us move forward to another step. So after we have listened to the sounds, now let us do the next part, and that is going to be the percussion. So nurses, the next step is percussion. So we percuss to hear some of the sounds. Like some of the sounds would sound like timpani, some of them would be dull sounds. Wherever there will be a hollow organ, there will be the presence of air or gas, timpani sound would be heard, which is loud, kind of heard more, has more resonance. And the dull sound will be heard where there is some dense organ, that will not make much of noise because it's not hollow, there is no air inside. And I mean to say, you will hear the dull sound over the liver or spleen, the organs which are not hollow. And we could also hear timpani over the intestines, because they are usually, if they are empty, there is no food, or the bowel are clear and there is air or gas, you could hear the timpani as well. In order to percuss, again you will have to start with the right lower quadrant, and this is how the percussion is being done. So this is how you percuss. Again, I am doing it clockwise, and you can hear the timpani kind of sounds over the intestinal area, whereas dull sounds over the organs like liver and spleen. Now we are moving towards the last step of nursing assessment, and that's the palpation. In the case of abdominal palpation, two type of palpations could be done. One is a light palpation, in which we press the abdomen just 1 centimeter, and the next one is a deep palpation, which could be done with one hand over the other, and both of the hands are pressing up to 2 to 3 centimeter. Okay, so basically when you are palpating, first make sure that your patient is not having any areas of pain or tenderness. If it is so, then we need to palpate that area at last. So since my patient is not having pain or tenderness over any area, so I am going to start with the right lower quadrant. So here, as if you can see, I am palpating just 1 centimeter, and you need to tell me, Rachel, if you feel any pain or tenderness. Okay. Then I can palpate the liver as well. Usually when you are palpating here, just below the ribs, liver and spleen should not be palpable. If the spleen and liver are palpable, this could indicate hepato and splenomegaly. And again, I am just palpating to detect any kind of masses, any kind of areas of pain or tenderness, any kind of hernias, which I am not palpating at all. So let us now show you how a deep palpation could be done. You have to place one hand and then place another hand over the first hand, and then press gently 2 to 3 centimeter. Do you feel any pain or tenderness while I am doing this? Okay, so this is how the deep palpation is being done. While palpating the abdomen, you could also palpate the aortic area. Basically, we have to palpate aorta for any kind of pulsations. The pulsation would be there and it should be forward. If it is going laterally, that could indicate aneurysm. So here I cannot find any lateral pulsation. So while doing palpation, there is one step in which you also palpate the costovertebral angle. Basically you percuss in that angle. So when I'll be percussing that angle, so your patient should not feel any pain in the costovertebral angle. Basically this is an angle which is made at the 12th rib. So Rachel, you will have to tell me if you feel any sort of pain.
Okay. No.
Do you feel any pain?
No.
No? Do you feel any pain?
No.
Okay. So basically, if patient feels any pain in the costovertebral angle, this could indicate some sort of kidney problem, basically pyelonephritis, etc. For that reason, it is being mainly done, but it is also a part of abdominal assessment. So after we are done with the regular assessment of the client, there are some of the points as a registered nurse you should tell your patient. Rachel, so it's very important to eat a healthy, balanced diet for the normal gut health, and you should do exercise regularly. Walking is very, very important because it helps to maintain a good gut health since you don't suffer from constipation and all. You should take plenty of fluids as well and keep visiting your doctor regularly for the assessments and all.
Okay.
So all these things we need to tell to our clients, and also you should tell your client to limit spicy foods and those foods to which your patient might be allergic to, irritating that might cause problems per abdomen. Also, I should teach my client to avoid over the counter medications like aspirin, etc. And if your patient needs to take these medications, there are certain ways with which these medications should be taken. So all these things we need to tell to our client. For more such videos, keep on following Navkiran. I hope you have learned a lot from today's session, and please tell me in the comment section what type of video you want me to make next so that you could master your nursing subject. And to get enrolled into our specialized courses for NCLEX RN or REXPN, the link is being given in bio. Also, we are giving a link to our exclusive Navkiran Nursing Classes app. You can get the details in the description given below this video, and press on the bell icon, subscribe my channel so that you can get the latest updates on what is going on in nursing. Thank you so much.